Shri Gurubhyo Namaha children, welcome to online class. Class 12th, this is your 5th unit poem, Father to His Son, written by Sernberg, Curl. Okay children, we are going to see what this poem is about. This poem, Father to His Son, written by Sandberg, deals with a piece of advice given by a father to his son. A father is given a set of guidelines and values to stay which help him to stay through uncertainty and complexities of life. The father wants to suggest values to his son will help his son to lead a meaningful life and satisfying existence. This poem is Insignificant Feast of American Poet. The poem with regular rhythm, it is almost a free verse of 44 lines. So, a father to his son, Carl August Sandburg. So, it is written by Carl August Sandburg. And who is he? And we will see about him. This poem is written in 1936. Almost verses of, it is a free verse of 44 lines. Sandburg is one of the America's finest poet. He was a central figure in the Chicago Renaissance. He was breaker of convention. He saw greatness in ordinary man and man's capacity to create a society in which inequality would be erased and dreams reached. So, here we can take as a father, an ordinary father who gives a set of values to the son. We can take in that way the poem had written, but he wanted this to be done to the nation. And here he says that there is inequality and would be erased, that inequality in the nation must be erased and dreams must be reached by every citizen of the nation. So, that was his idea, and he was just giving as a father to a son an advice. The son is moving from boyhood to manhood, and his father wants to impart the knowledge that he has learnt over the years from his experience and mistakes to his son, to that he will not make same mistake in his future. A piece of worldly wisdom given by a father to his son. Father wishes his son to be with energy and stamina to face hurdles in life. I think children will see the thing. So, you can see a father to his son, Carl August Sandburg. Poetry is the opening and closing of a door, leaving those who look through to guess about what was seen during a moment. So, here the poetry, so this is a word of himself. Sandberg itself said this, and what he said, an ordinary thing, advice given by a father to his son, and that had been taken by him to the whole nation, the injustice and inequality taking place, and he want to give a suggestion and a piece of advice to the citizen as their own son of that nation, and he want to give as a father so that they will be erasing the inequality and their dreams will be reached. So, here it is a poetic moment, that advice had been taken as a poet, it took those inequality happening in the nation, and he want to correct that and erase it from the nation, and he want to give the people who need their opportunity, and he just tells them that they have to dream and that dream must be reached. So, he was just telling them this. Okay, Sandberg was born in Galsburg. So he was born in Galsburg, Illinois, and to the parents of Swedish ancestry. Carl August Sandberg was born on January 6, 1878, and he died on July 22, 1967. He was an American poet, and he was a central figure of America and writer and editor. So he won 3 Pulitzer Prize, 2 for his poem and 1 for his biography of Abraham Lincoln. So he had taken Abraham Lincoln and he had written his biography, and for that he got a Pulitzer Prize. During his lifetime, Sandberg was widely regarded as a major figure. He was a major figure in America. And he wrote other poems called verses, including Chicago Poems. It was written in 1916, Chicago Poems in 1916, and Corn Uxer in 1918, and Smoke and Steel in 1920. So he wrote these poems, and Father to His Son, it was written in 1936. It was written in 1936. Okay. So here what the other people think of him. So here unrivaled appeal as a poet in his days, and perhaps because the breadth of his experience connected him with so many strands of American life, and at his death in 1967, so in 1967 in his death, President Lyndon B. Johnson observed that Carl Sandburg was more than voice of America, was more than a voice of America. On his death, he had found out that he has written so many things about America, and he is worried about America, and he shown all his values and the advice or the thing what he want to give to the American people and for America, he had written as a poem, and he was his poems all says about more than other things than of America. So it tells about America. Poet of his strength and genius, he was America. So he was America. So he, instead of as a poet, if you search in his life, he was mostly as America than as a poet. So it is very clear, children. Okay. A father to his son. The poem is a kind of free verse. So it is a free verse of worldly wisdom given by a father to his son. Here an experienced father wished that his son should lead a good life in future. He must have enough energy and stamina to grapple with the hurdles in the life, and he have to face those life and hurdles and storm, and you have to be very strong person, and you have to face everything, all the dangers in front of him. The father's tension increases seeing his son at the threshold of mankind. It's a time when nearly each and every father becomes protective and cautious. You know that a son is growing to a manlyhood, a boyhood to a manhood. So what will happen? A father will suggest, he will be suggesting a thing. The poet Carl Sandburg gives a vivid description of a father worldly wisdom in directing a son who is at the threshold of his manhood. You know that from boyhood to a manhood a boy goes, and in that time he have to face lot of things, and the father gives a vivid description how a worldly wisdom must be, and he is directing a son who is at the threshold of his manhood. So here it is very clear, children. Here the father motivates his son to be like a hard rock and withstand life, challenges and sudden betrayals. So here in the first stanza he tells, okay, so he tells his son to be hard like a rock, to face challenges. He does not like his son to have too much money. Excessive money could destroy him. Money can harm him He should learn from his mistake and should never repeat them. He should not be carried away by false praise by others. Solitude is the creative. He wants him to be different from others. He advises him to read vastly books on Shakespeare, Wright brothers, Pasteur and Michael Faraday and gain knowledge. We'll go for the first stanza. The first stanza very clearly tells that he must be hard like a stone and he must be strong like even whatever the storm is, challenge is coming, he must be like a rock and steel and stand before, and he have to create his own life. So here he gives a good advice to the son, and the father's advice is as written as a poem. Let us see the first stanza. A father sees his son nearing manhood. What shall he tell that son? Life is hard, be still, be a rock, and this might stand him for the storms and serve him from humdrum monotony. What is humdrum monotony? What do you mean by this? Okay, a father sees his son nearing manhood. What shall he tell that son? Life is hard, be still, be a rock, and this might stand him for a storm and serve him for humdrum monotony. What is humdrum monotony? So here in a day-to-day life, in a routine life, we are facing so many troubles, all nuisance, which you are facing everyday life. Boring routines. Humdrum monotony means boring routines. It is happening daily and daily we are doing it. So you have to face the challenges coming in a routine life, in a boring routine life. He talks about that. So a father sees his son nearing manhood. What shall he tell that son? Life is hard. Be still. Be a rock. And this might stand him for a storm, for the storms, and serve him for humdrum monotony. What do you mean by humdrum monotony? Humdrum monotony means boring routines. Okay children, it is clear. So it tells very clearly, the poet called Sandberg gives a vivid description of a father, worldly wisdom. He gives his wisdom to the son that how you have to be. The first stanza tells it that here the father motivates his son to be like a hard rock and withstand life challenges and sudden betrayals. He tells you may have faced betrayals, so you must not be very mum, and you must not be worried about it, you must not be tensed about it, and you must not be feeling inferiority to that. So you must be like a hard stone, and you must be like a rock and like a steel, and you have to be ready to face hard, strong, and like a rock and steel you must be, and you have to face each and every challenges in day-to-day life. So that was the advice given by the father to his son in this first stanza. Shall we move to the second stanza, children? And guide him among sudden betrayals and tighten him for slack moments. Life is soft loam, be gentle, go easy, and this too might serve him. Brutes have been gentle where lashes fail. In the first stanza, he tells that son must be hard like a rock, and he must be like a storm, face the challenges. So the storm will be in life like a challenges, and he must be ready to face that. But in the second stanza, same father, he says, life is like a fertile soil. So life is like a fertile soil. We can make our life fruitful. We are gentle and take life as it comes. So you must not be hard at all. So when our life is like a fertile, when it is like a storm, you must be like a hard rock and steel, hard steel and very hard rock, you must be like a rock and steel. But when it is in a fertile soil, if it is so gentle, you must not do anything, you just keep quiet. So we can make our life fruitful if we are gentle and take life as it comes. So here the father gives in the first stanza an advice that he must be like a rock and steel and hard, and you have to face the challenges. In the second stanza, same father says you have lot of betrayals and all. So you must be gentle, and as the fertile soil is there, it will be giving as it comes. So life will be just going on as it is. So here, and guide him among sudden betrayals. So you must be guided among the sudden betrayals. He is telling, don't think and don't believe everybody. And here, sudden betrayals, you will be facing the betrayals, and tighten him for slack moments. When he is lazy and some slack moments is there, father is tightening him, Life is soft loam. Soft loam means a fertile one. Life is like a fertile and gentle one. Be gentle, at that time be gentle, go easy. And this too might serve him. So this too might serve him. In some places the son must be very hard and strong hearted, and some places he must be like a gentle person. Brutes here means a person who is not gentle, opposite to a gentle. A brute is here and it is not gentle. Have been gentle where lashes failed, So here, sometimes when you are brute only, lash will help you. So for animals you will be whipping and you will be getting the work to be done. But when it goes like a gentle, as a fertile one, as days goes on with the life, you have to be gentle and you have to go along with it. In the first stanza he says that he must be hard like a rock and steel. In the second stanza he says that it is a fertile loam means a fertile one, and so you be gentle, it is gentle, life is going on gentle, so you also be gentle, so that brutes also will be gentle and the punishment lashes will be missing there. So he gives an advice. Till this it is very clear, children. Shall we move to the next stanza? The growth of a frail flaw in a path up is sometimes shattered and split the rock. A tough will count, so does desire, so does a rich soft wanting, without wanting nothing arrives. So here the father says very clearly in the third stanza, see, a frail means weak. So here a flower which is growing, a plant which is growing on the pathway. Like that, if small plant grows in the rock, it will be just breaking the rock. How strong the rock is, it will be breaking. So he says, the growth of the frail, weak flaw in a path up has sometimes shattered and split the rock. Even how strong the rock is, that small thing will split the hard rock. A tough will count, so does desire. So desire a rich soft wanting. So you desire rich soft wanting, and without rich wanting nothing arrives. So you must have interest, and that only will help. So here one should have a deep and strong will to achieve. So if you have any goal, you must have a deep and strong wish to achieve. Greed for money has left men dead before they really die. So here he tells that one must have a long thirst for his goal, and he must have a willingness to do that and to achieve that. So a strong willingness is, a deep and strong willingness is needed to achieve any goal. So that only the father tells him. So the growth of a frail weak will be thinking something small, what will happen. So that thing as a plant, a small plant in the rock, how it just spoils the hard rock and split into pieces. Like that, even a strong idea if you have, you will be missing it. Okay. has sometimes shattered and split a rock, the small plant, like that small deviation in you, that will be just spoiling your hard work. So, here you must be very, very careful, and your willingness for your hard work on willingness for your goal is the interest for the goal is very, very important. So, a tough will counts, so does desire, you desire, so does a rich soft wanting. You must have a willingness for a rich willingness, you must have a deep willingness, you must have, then only you can, without rich wanting nothing arrives, without any willingness and hard work nothing will come to you. So, that only is saying in the third stanza. I believe that this is very clear to you, children. Okay. Glossary, you see that we had humdrum, autonomy, boring routine, soft loom means fertile soil, lashes means whips. Okay, okay children, we will see any figure of speech is there. Yeah, so metaphor is there. What is metaphor, children? You have lot of metaphors. Life is hard. So, here when you are having life is hard, be steel, be rock. So, here no like and as is given. If anything is given with as and like, it is called simile. Without like and as, an implied simile is called metaphor. You will be seeing life is hard. Life is like hard, instead of saying, he says life is hard, be steel, be a rock. Be like a steel or be like a rock, instead of saying like that, he is saying be a steel, be a rock. And that, and this too might serve him, this too might serve him means that gentleness might serve him. And this might stand him for the storms, that rock, strongness, hardness will. So, these lines are all metaphor. The growth of a frail flower in the path, it is a weak like flower, instead of saying that he is saying frail flower in the path up. Life is soft loam, be a gentle, go easy. So, these lines are metaphors, children. You know that you have so many lines, and this is all metaphor. So, imagery we have, life is hard, immediately you will be getting an imagination in your mind how hard it will be, and steel, if you are saying you will be thinking of a rough rock or a steel. So, that you will be getting in your mind as a picture. So, it is called as imagery. So, does a rich soft wanting, rich soft wanting. So, that is also you will be know what is richness, that will be in your mind. Life is a soft loam, be gentle, go easy. So, life is like a gentle, so you go be a soft loam and be gentle and go easy. So, that is also an imagery. You will be thinking of richness and softness of something and all, it will be running in your mind. So, it is called as imagery. So, we have alliteration, children, and this might stand him for the storm. So, here stand in storm and stand. See, alliteration is nothing but any vowels if you are having, it is called as if you are having consonants, the same sound in a same line anywhere, it is called as alliteration. So, you will be having alliteration and yes and yes, it is a consonant sound with yes. So, here and this might stand him for the storm. The growth of a frail flower. So, here frail flower and sometimes shattered, split. So, does and desire. So, this is all alliteration. So, same sound, consonant sound is there in the poem in a same line with the different words in a line. It is called alliteration. So, you have so many alliterations. Okay, children, we saw the part 1 of the poem and you enjoyed the poem, I believe. We will be continuing in the second part, children. Until then, bye. Thank you, children.